120,000 people search for tinnitus sound therapy every single month. And most of what they find is incomplete or plain simply just wrong. My name is Tinnitus coach Frida. I'm a tinnitus ACT coach. I've worked with over 700 people by now, and I'm the founder of MyTinnitus.Club, our online tinnitus habituation community. Here's what I actually tell my clients about sound therapy. This is the truth you need to hear. Welcome. So my name is Tinnitus coach Frida. I was born deaf in my left ear, hearing aid and severe high-pitched tinnitus in my right ear. The guy who's been able to get over 100,000 subscribers on this topic of tinnitus here on YouTube, talking about what you can do out there in order to go from bothersome to non-bothersome tinnitus. And today I want to debunk a couple of myths around sound therapy. So here we go. Let's start with the basics. What is sound therapy? Well, there are basically three different main types of sound therapy. And the first one is masking, right? Masking is basically when you cover up your tinnitus with any kind of external sound. White noise, fans, music, rain sounds, or anything. So, and the idea behind masking is if you can't hear it, you won't be bothered by it, right? The second one is sound enrichment. Sound enrichment is a background sound that is quieter than your tinnitus, and it's not covering it up, but it's giving your brain something else to focus on, okay? And examples of these would be also, a lot of people use nature sounds, gentle music sometimes, or some ambient noise. Yeah? The third one is notched sound therapy that we frequently see. And this is a little bit more technical. It is designed to filter out the frequency exactly of where your tinnitus is and to retrain your auditory system. Sound therapy can be useful in the short term. This is what I say to most of my clients, because it reduces the contrast between you being in a quiet room and the tinnitus being screaming loud, yeah? And adding some gentle background noises, especially at the start, will make your tinnitus less prominent, okay? So it gives you some form of temporary relief, and this masking, especially in the early stages of your tinnitus journey, can help you sleep better, get through work, or just, cope with a difficult moment. And these are like very real benefits for a lot of people, and I'm not dismissing them, yeah? But there's one particular part where people unfortunately often get stuck with the sound therapy and with the idea of what sound therapy does in the longer term. And these are three major limitations that no one ever really talks about. The first one is it does not retrain your nervous system. I know they might claim, but sound therapy can distract you, but it does not teach your brain that tinnitus is safe. Often people come to me and tell me I'm annoyed by the sound therapy because it reminds me of the fact that I hate my tinnitus. So if you're using white noise 24/7, your nervous system is still in fight or flight when you don't, then you're just covering up this alarm bell and you're not turning it off. So you're not changing the way your nervous system relates to the stimulus. The second one is you can't really use it everywhere, right? So you can't mask your tinnitus in a business meeting with crucial things you need to be able to focus on. You can't always have headphones in. You can't always sleep with this or the battery runs out. It's not something that is practical to be doing forever. So what happens when you stop the sound therapy in these instances? You are absolutely and immediately back to square one, inevitably. And this is exactly where you do not retrain your brain's reaction to your tinnitus, but you're actually getting stuck on a crutch. Yeah? It's like, you have a broken leg, the leg heals, and you're still using crutches to walk around. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Third reason, it can create dependency. So I have worked with people who literally had panic attacks as soon as their masking gone out. And that is creating such a big dependence on it that it feels like only if you have some form of sound therapy or sound enrichment there, you're going to make it into the next moment or through your day, etc. And that's of course a very, very alarming dependency, because that is the opposite of habituation and teaching your brain that it's not important to be focusing on tinnitus. And here now is finally the most important thing that I tell my clients about sound therapy. Sound therapy is a tool. It's not the solution. In the end, is through teaching your nervous system that tinnitus is safe to experience, even in silence. Listen to me. It's important to retrain your brain that your nervous system learns that tinnitus is safe to experience, even in silence. I can sit down and meditate in my little chair with my tinnitus blaring away and get deeply relaxed, so relaxed that I might drop off to sleep. But I can go outside and hear my tinnitus over a 4-lane street. Right? So you make the judgment of how intense my tinnitus is, but I have zero reaction to it. So after working with over 700 people, both in MyTinnitus.Club and in personal coaching sessions, I see what actually creates people lasting habituation, right? And the first one is nervous system work. And nervous system work is that your brain learns through lived experience, not just understanding in some videos, but through lived experience and through other people sharing what they experience, that tinnitus is safe. In acceptance and commitment therapy, we do this in 3 different ways. The first one is to accept difficult thoughts and feelings, to diffuse from catastrophic thinking, and to live by our values despite tinnitus, so that our brain learns that we are a lot less affected by our tinnitus than our negative perception of tinnitus makes it out to be. The second one that helps most people is community and co-regulation. I already mentioned this. Your nervous system learns safety from being around other humans who've been through exactly the same. That's not motivational talk, that's neuroscience. We're wired for co-regulation. Think about this, right? When you have a difficulty, you discuss it with your partner, your family, your community, and you try and solve it together. We human beings are designed to be co-regulating. And the third thing is having tools for your triggers, you know? Knowing what to do in order to get your sleep back on track, knowing what to do, how to regulate your anxiety, how to manage spikes, or, you know, personalize these ideas for your specific needs and your nervous system. Yeah? And that's why, and this is a little bit of a segue for me to tell you about MyTinnitus.Club. That's why I have created MyTinnitus.Club, especially doing exactly what I just talked about. It's not only an app. It's not only pre-recorded videos with you going through some course. It is that, but it is so much more than this. It's a community where you work through ACT tools together with people who experience this on a day-to-day basis, with weekly live coaching, with myself in a group, with people who understand what you are going through right now. Yes, of course, sound therapy can be part of your toolkit, especially at the start when it's very difficult. But in the long term, and the foundation of real habituation work is teaching your brain and nervous system that tinnitus is safe to experience, acceptance and commitment therapy, and community, so that you can go from bothersome to non-bothersome. So here's what I recommend. If you are currently very reliant on sound therapy and you want to reduce that dependency a little bit, use it by all means. But don't just stop there, because habituation is not giving in or covering up to tinnitus. It's about changing your relationship with it. So if you want to get started and are not sure where you are right now in your journey, I've created 2 things: a free 4-day guide and a little habituation quiz that I just put live this week. So if you go to www.habituate.online, you can take this little habituation quiz and it will find out together where you are currently in your habituation journey and what you possibly need in order to move through these stages of habituation. And if you want to go deeper and dodge all of this and join us directly in MyTinnitus.Club, then go to www.mytinnitus.club. As usual, thank you for liking and subscribing, letting me know in the comments of what you think about sound therapy, whether it's been helpful, whether it's been difficult, what your dependency is, and what other ideas you have around tinnitus and sound therapy, and share it with the people who really need to hear this. I'm very, very grateful for all your support. Thank you, and I'll see you in next week's video. Goodbye.